The MF Empire podcast is brought to you by MaxFit Meals. With over 30 meal selections to choose from, ready in 3 minutes or less, MaxFit Meals is the greatest place to find meal prep on the planet. Healthier options of the meals you already love. And right now, MaxFit Meals is offering $120 off your first 8 weeks of MaxFit Meals subscription. You can use code MFEmpire at maxfitmeals.com. And, you know, MaxFit Meals is the greatest meal prep company on the planet. So go check them out. MaxFit Meals, where maximizing your food is our ultimate passion. What else brings this podcast to these fine folks?
The podcast is also brought to you by Meek Marketing. If you are looking to scale your business dramatically in 2023 and beyond, do what we did. Use Meek Marketing. They specialize in website design, graphic design, digital marketing, commercial photography, and much, much more. They're an all-encompassing business that will drive you to the next level and will help you become the brand that you always wanted to be. Find them at meekmarketing.com, and you could also contact them on social media at meek_marketing.
Let's get into the podcast. Welcome to the MF Empire podcast, where we help business professionals and leaders like you take your business to the next level. In each episode, we bring you expert insights and practical advice on how to grow your business, increase revenue, become a better leader, and achieve your goals. Whether you're just starting out or you're looking to expand your existing business, this podcast is for you. Join us as we explore the latest trends, strategies, and tools to help you succeed in today's competitive marketplace. Let's get started on your journey to business growth. Now, here are your hosts, Chris Spencer and Brian Meek. Chris, how are you doing today?
Brian, I am doing amazing. Thank you for asking. How are you doing today, sir?
It's sunny outside on the Central Coast, so you can't ever complain when there's not a cloud in the sky out of here.
No, it's always sunny in California until it's not, but
right.
Overall, it's a heck of a lot warmer than our friends in the East Coast in the middle Midwest or wherever the heck you're at. So we're enjoying ourselves here. December's coming in nice and right. I don't say warm, but we're not freezing to death. So we're blessed and we're grateful to be where we are.
Had some nice rain, which is good for the state. It's good for us, I think.
Sure.
Some nice snow, I guess, up in the mountains. I don't know. I don't do that thing.
I've been seeing a lot of social media posts, people getting snowed in and starting to feel like the old time when there was snow on the ski slopes. And it's actually a pretty good time to be in California, despite all of our challenges, right?
Right.
And the point of the matter is, I guess that's a good segue. There's always going to be challenges.
Sure.
And the difference between, I think, what you can be as an entrepreneur, what you can be as an individual, and what you can be as a business as a whole is you're confronting your brutal facts. And I think that's one thing that
we're going to talk about.
Unfortunately, politicians in all over the world, they typically don't. But we're not politicians. No. We control our narrative. We're trying to be great, and we're trying to actually solve problems in our lives, problems in our companies.
Today's episode 6 of the MF Empire podcast.
The MF Empire podcast. Let's get a little energy in there.
I like the way you present it. That's why I let into that.
You're trying to
episode 6
encourage me to get on it.
The MF Empire podcast. I don't know if I could do it justice like you do, but we're talking about good to great, why some companies make a leap and others don't, by Jim Collins, a foundational aspect of the MF Empire and the MF Empire podcast. And we're going to talk today's episode 6. We're going to talk about one of the key concepts, and every single one of these are key concepts, but this one is what really has led to where we're at. I feel like today we have a long way to go, but in today's MF Empire, this was the thing that really set us apart from where we were 4 or 5 years ago, and that is confronting the brutal facts.
Right.
Confronting the brutal facts, being able to have those discussions with yourself, have those discussions with your team, have those discussions with your vendors or whoever it is, being able to look at your finances, being able to look at what your inadequacies are, and then debating those things until you come up with the proper solution, the right answer. And you know what? You might not like the right answer.
No.
But you're going to do it anyway. That's what this is about.
And, like the Stockdale Paradox.
Stockdale Paradox.
You can read that here if you want.
But I'll pull it up. For those that are listening, I'll read it, but I'll pull it up on the screen. For everybody watching on video here, the Stockdale Paradox is: you must retain faith that you will prevail in the end regardless of the difficulties. And at the same time, you must confront the brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they might be. And in today's society, there's a lot of procrastination.
And let's just clarify who Stockdale was. He was a POW in Vietnam.
Right.
I think he was one of the longest serving POWs.
Correct.
And he remained alive when a lot of his fellow prisoners of war passed away and did not make it through the war. They gave up. And, and he remained faithful that he was going to, one day come back to the United States and live his life. And I think this is another
an admiral in the U.S. Navy, I believe, right?
You have to check me on that. I don't know, but I do believe, Admiral Jim Stockton, I believe, so Stockdale.
James Stockdale, Jim. We can call him Jim. We know him personally, right? We hang out with him.
Yeah, we're on the casual.
Jim and Jim.
We've moved on behind the formal, past the formal. So anyways, it's just, I think in any time in your career, your life journey or your entrepreneurial journey, you're going to be in the low points. And I have certainly been there. I've been there multiple times. But the beauty of my life today and the reason why Brian and I share this stuff, I've chosen to share this stuff with you. We now have Good to Great, and we have the principles, the key principles of the book. And confronting the brutal facts is one of the main things that pulled me from the depths of stress and disparity, the vines that were hanging me, the lack of goodness, greatness, even though I strived, I worked, put in more work than I actually put in today. This book is for the community that we want to speak to and we want to help.
Sure.
And so we'll get on with it.
How about an example of a time where you had to confront a brutal fact and what was that? What was that thing? How did you do it? What did you do about it? And then what was the result? I mean, there's probably every day we have to confront.
It's actually at this point I was writing some issues down before this podcast started, and
from today,
right?
This is exactly real world.
Brian's
right
a problem solver. I'm an issue identifier. And then I have the key as a visionary of this particular brand. I know Brian is also a visionary in his own aspects, in his own brand, Meek Marketing. But the fact of the matter is we have to identify issues every day. The people that I have working for me on the bus to success, the higher end people that I have in positions of leadership and management, they're also going to be hyper aware that there's going to be issues like trash in the parking lot. I did come into one of my stores today, and there's some trash that what's the new word? It's not homeless, but housing challenge.
It blew in by vagrants.
Right. Yeah. Someone had put a big huge mess in front of our store, like crackers and whatnot, and that doesn't fly for me. We want to be great.
Right.
When Brian's cousin pulls up to try out the shop because she was recommended by Brian, I want a clean, sterile, premium environment that actually inside, outside actually displays the quality greatness that we're going for. Sure. And you want 100% quality, 100% satisfaction with the 360 experience at Max Fit. So what I had to do, I had to get out, sweep up all the trash. I had to go in, I had to speak with my manager, store manager, general manager, make them aware of the situation. And we together are going to find a solution and make it part of the systems when the staff closed it down the store. And when they open the store every day, they look for trash and they clean it up.
Sure.
But it's those brutal facts that it exists, but it's really not that simple. But there's an example for you. And then the past, I guess the biggest example with this would be I wanting to be premium, I wanting to be great, absorbing that, having no systems, not invested and trained the right people, not selected the right people, not putting the right people in the spot. So those type of issues would build up in my my mind. It would create stress. My long-term memory would be overwhelmed with this kind of stuff. So, or I would simply be afraid to even ask somebody to ask it out, or I didn't have systems to audit that. So the example that we have today and the systems that we have today as of us having meetings, having a group of leaders that are responsible people that we've selected, we've put them on that place because their acumen in getting things done.
Right, task manager.
Now I know that Cynthia, I'll call her out because she's great, we'll get it done and I won't see trash anymore. So you're basically identifying issues, not ignoring them.
Right.
Because nobody likes to pick up trash. I don't like to pick up trash, but also nobody likes to see trash. Right. So examples of that are endless. I could sit here and talk until I'm blue in the face of issues, but the most important thing, it's caused me to not ignore them.
Sure.
It's caused me to confront the brutal fact that there is people that are going to leave trash no matter what. I need to have a solution for those issues and processes to get it done and make sure that we mitigate it.
One of the other concepts in this chapter, confronting the brutal facts, is how to create a culture where the truth can be heard. Right? It's not just. You don't want to create a business where you have all the answers. You already said that, right? Where you're the business, right? You have to create systems and you have to empower people to come up with solutions. So part of this whole building a culture, there's 4 key concepts that Jim Collins had. They had figured out from these great leaders what those things were. Number 1 is lead with questions, not with answers. I feel like we do a really good job around here. I know that in my business outside of the MF Empire, my personal business, Meek Marketing, and also companies I work with, I ask a lot of questions. Why? Why is this? Why is this? Why is this? Hey, why don't we do this? Hey, have we ever done this in the past? Because I work for businesses that have been around for 20, 30 years, 100 years, the answer has always been like, oh, we used to do that, or we've always done it this way. And that's not how you build a culture of trying to confront the brutal facts. The second concept is engage in dialogue and debate, not in coercion. So you have to be able to have those vulnerable conversations with your employees, with yourself, with whoever, and not be afraid of hearing no, or hearing like, hey,
tripped up on vulnerable.
not being afraid of the fact that somebody's going to tell you something you may not want to hear.
And I can vouch for that.
Hey, there's this bill I didn't pay.
Sure.
Hey, there's this thing. Hey, there's this customer that came in the other day and they're pissed off and they want to.
You know what's beautiful though? You can get destroyed on a personal level by ignoring the brutal facts. And I think there's a lot of miserable people in this world today, business owners in particular, because I think there's no harder time to be an entrepreneur, whether it's small, medium, or large. There's much more distractions. You have social media, you have people bringing cell phones into work, different challenges with the pandemic, et cetera, et cetera. The fact of the matter is auditing, confronting these brutal facts and finding solutions will really change your life and will create a tremendous amount of freedom.
Right.
And if you're not doing this, you're just not doing it the right way.
Right.
And that's why I'm grateful and will always be grateful. And we're talking about Jim Collins and his great book, From Good to Great now, because of the freedom that it gave me and the freedom that it's given Brian and the ability to establish core values for yourself and your brand, and
just a direction to go in.
Right? It's like a path. EOS, it's an operating system, right? We've created via Jim Collins, and the MaxFit Empire, the MF Empire, has actually expanded upon a lot of things and made it our own. But if we didn't have this template, there would be no success that we're having right now.
The template is the default, right? Meaning, like, if you use these concepts, you put them into place. If you ever find yourself straying, and we'll get into the headshot concept, which we'll talk about that in the next episode. But you can always default. Kind of the way that the way that this book is built is that each concept's built on top of itself. So if you find yourself straying in a certain aspect, you just need to default back to the previous concept. Right. So in this situation, if you get into confronting the brutal facts and you find yourself not doing that, you just need to go backwards, and you just need to talk about first who, then what. Because what ultimately happens is you don't have the right people around you. You're not, and that couldn't be yourself too. That means you need to talk about yourself and then figure out what you're going to do.
You're not being a level 5 leader, or at least not striving to be a level 5 leader.
The third concept in this creating a culture of confronting the truth or finding the truth is conduct autopsies without blame. Meaning, if you find that you've made a mistake, you need to figure out where that mistake was made. And even if it wasn't an individual that made the decision to make that, if it was yourself or one of your employees, you can't blame that person. You have to do it and say, you know what, we made a mistake. We need to move on from that. And the fourth one is build red flag mechanisms, which is something that I feel like we struggled with our employees for a long time. Is like, hey, you need to say something.
Sure.
And so now what do we have? We have these checklists. We have these meetings where it's like when you start to see these behaviors happen again, that's the red flag mechanism. What's a good example for maybe MaxFit meals, right? Which MaxFit meals, we sell them online, we sell them in stores, but we also deal a lot with the vendor, the manufacturer. What's maybe one of those red flag things that we've built in? To me, a good example would be when we get to around the holidays where people may not be ordering meals or the delivery companies are closed or whatever. And we start to see a suppression in orders and in the stores because we stock them in the stores.
Sure.
We have a tendency to lose meals.
We did in the past, right? And part of the reason why we don't is investing in our company and getting the right equipment that helps. But with that being said, you're still a great opportunity to lose food because you'll have a great retraction in sales around like Christmas Eve or whatever, Thanksgiving, and people are eating, turkey sandwiches with cranberries or tamales, which I would prefer.
Right, tamales are the greatest.
Yeah, right. Anyways, side issue there, side topic. But
the red
flag is the manager or the store manager. So the meal provider is actually a partner, because we're partners here. We're creating something great. They are involved in our business. There's great community. So I believe, and you might have a different understanding, but like for us, it's like the manager. It's in our systems. They need a red flag, Chris, Brian are not going to be checking the food stock on Christmas Eve. The manager is able to call and say, 911, we have a certain amount of meals. We need to run a sale or get in touch with Brian, who is in charge and does a wonderful job at our marketing. And we have like options at that point. Send out text messages, start pumping out social media, and get the food out of there, and then pull back on the actual ordering. So it goes back to a previous podcast where we almost have a zero food loss. That means that food is not wasted, which is ethically, in my opinion. I'm born in a time where I had to clear my plate, so I don't like throwing away food. Animals gave their life. People are hungry in this community and around the world. Right. But it's for a brass tacks business, reason. You don't ever want to throw food away. It's cutting down your profit margin.
The red flags of it are more built into. Now we actually have conversations. We've confronted the brutal facts. We know that this can happen. We talk about it 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. Hey, this is what's going to happen. How are we going to plan for this? And then the secondary red flag is built into the managers. So we know, because we built red flags into surrounding these. But that's a perfect example of where we screwed up, and we had to confront that, and who had to have that conversation with Chris when it was myself and Seamus, the partner, and we were like, Chris, we're going to have to throw these meals away. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we're losing money, while at the same time you weren't happy. You understood that it ultimately fell on everybody. It wasn't just Brian and Seamus.
My mind's a lot of things are starting to pop in my mind as basically examples of confronting the brutal tax. I've had different partners previous to like our current partner, which has been like a game changer. The organization, the communication between us, the openness to work together and actually invest in each other's businesses is amazing. So shout out to Seamus and the crew over there. But the point I was saying, I've had previous providers where things were not going well, and I had to confront the brutal facts where they had to go. Right. And it's actually people that I knew, and anytime you do business and a great deal of business with people, you start to get to know them, you start to get to like them. But I had to delete them from my life, and it was in order to save the business because they were just not cutting it. So the choice of being great will never be ruined by a relationship with a vendor or personal relationship if they're not following our same core values and meeting our expectation. Sure. And obviously we're going to audit, we're going to meet, we're going to try to find solutions. We're going to draw red flags with that vendor. But at the end of the day, if they don't meet the task, what do I always say? Right. You have a cancer in your arm, you have to cut your own arm off. And we would not be with our current provider, our partner, if they didn't have the same mindset. They were not available constantly to meet, to have meetings, to constantly have solve issues, because you're not alive. If you're not having issues, you're dead. You're 6 feet under, right? Right. So I think the overlying, concept is like understanding that you're gonna always have issues. Don't bury your freaking head in the sand like an ostrich, and
right.
And I think that's actually the biggest challenge. It's been the biggest challenge for me early on, and it was a bigger challenge. It's a big challenge for everyone that's actually listening today. So confront the brutal facts, man. There's no other way. You will not get to level. You won't be a level 5 leader if you're not confronting the brutal facts.
You won't be a great company at all.
You won't be a great company. You won't
great
be
business leader. Great whatever it is.
You're going to mire in a quagmire of mediocrity, and the more people, the more business you take on, the more issues you're going to have, and these issues begin to compile, and they steamroll you, and you close or you completely discredit years of hard work.
Right.
So just don't do it. Get on board with good to great. Confront your brutal facts.
Other than just don't do it, what's one thing that while we're going to wrap things up here, what's one thing that you would want to leave with our listeners when it comes to confronting the brutal facts? What's one tip or one technique that you would give them? What's something that you've done in your business that you would definitely disseminate to everybody else?
Well, I think I say it all the time in these podcasts. It's meetings. The meetings to confront the brutal facts have the culture where, and I could say honestly, I did not have this culture, but strive to create a culture where people can wave the red flag, where you're not being shut down, or, you have humility.
Right.
Level 5 leader has to have humility. Be willing to solve issues, be willing to solve them yourself, but be also willing to listen when people bring up issues, and creating that culture, but also having meetings with your higher end staff. And something, the hardest part for us is having one-on-ones, have the chain of command. The store managers have one-on-ones with your front end employees, who are also your lifeblood of the business, so they can raise red flags, but become hyper organized and disciplined on meeting, setting processes to deal with the issues. And so it's one thing to have confronting the brutal facts, like if you're bleeding out money, and let's say it's something basic like a broken water pipe. But if no one says anything, and I know that this is human nature, I started working here, the water pipe was broken. It's always been broken. Yeah. Nobody waves a red flag.
Nobody says, why can't we fix it?
A lot of times you can't confront every brutal fact that you have without the right team and having the culture of being able to raise a red flag. And I know that's why Jim Collins added it to the book, and it's super valuable. So that's the... one thing that's
but if you find yourself needing to confront the brutal facts, and I do all the time, and I know you do as well, the Stockdale Paradox really is kind of that guiding light in this situation, and you have to make sure that, again, the Stockdale Paradox, you must retain faith. You will prevail in the end, regardless of the difficulties, and at the same time, you must confront the brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they might be. If you just understand that shit's hard, life sucks, it's gonna be tough out there to get things done sometimes, but if you are really trying to be great, if you just continue to push forward, your current reality is just your current reality. You just have to make sure you try to make the changes in that reality to make yourself better, turn yourself from good to great. Follow that kind of guiding light that this is my reality, this is where I want to go. And in order to do that, I have to make the decisions and the choices that might hurt. They might suck. I might lose friends. I might lose family members. I might, whatever it is.
Yeah, people might hate you for a while.
But at the end of the day, if it's the right thing to do, it's always going to be the right thing to do, no matter 100%. What. So, as we leave you with episode 6 here of the MF Empire podcast, Chris. It was a great episode,
I think this is one of the top-notch episodes we've done so far. Looking forward to many, many more episodes of the MF Empire podcast. Thank you guys for joining us, and look forward to talking to you all again.
And make sure that you subscribe, follow, share, all the great things. Make sure that you leave 5-star reviews, you leave comments, whatever it is. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to us on YouTube, because it's going to help us find more people. And if you want to have a conversation, reach out to us on social media, the MF Empire podcast. And if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, you're listening to this on Google Podcasts, or all of there's so many I don't even know anymore. Rate, review, share, because that's going to get us out to more people. The more people that we get out to, the better we can get this message across.
And just that's
what this is about.
We're trying to relieve your stress. We're trying to help. We want you to be a happier person. We want you to be successful. We want you to be great.
And if you think we suck, let us know that too. You don't have to tell us everything.
Yeah, we'll confront the brutal facts.
Right.
Yes.
Everybody have a great day. Deuces.